Welcome and welcome back, everybody. This is session 25 of Mythlanders of Goblinstone. We are the Mythlanders. All of us, you all out there viewing, those of us here playing, and me, the Dungeon Master, DM Feanor. So, over the last few sessions, the heroes of Arabelle, or the up-and-coming heroes of Arabelle, have made their way toward the stone, made a few new allies, gotten a few useful resources. They have charged into and cut a path through the stone, forced to do so as one lone goblin got away from their first encounter, charging through the stone and alerting others to their presence, activating traps and plans. The party made their way toward the sounds of shouting townsfolk, people screaming for rescue. The party fought into a narrow corridor, and our resident Goliath, Lokag, crashed through doors and broke manacles, while a few other, party members delved in to begin picking the locks on the manacles of some. There was something in the western chamber, some large, much larger goblin, and from the east, goblins amassing. Cliff managed to throw up another area of entangling vines to hold the goblins back while the allies were rescued, townsfolk were rescued, while X opened a tunnel back out into the day. The heroes managed to get most of the people in those cells out. There were a couple remaining. But it was either lose everybody or just lose those two and have the hope of rescuing them later. Though it seems a thin hope. In any case, the allies are now returning to the stone, or the heroes are returning to the stone. Some of the townsfolk that they have rescued made decent allies, and they've also have the two shady gnomes, Tar and Win, along with them. A few of the people they rescued were willing to, capable of, and knew how to take up arms. So there's a small entourage. They've got probably about 5 other people who are capable of combat, though none are probably at the level of the heroes who have survived two attempts at the destruction of the square, and 2 delves into the stone itself, have uncovered secrets and bathed in the light of a goddess. So their second return to the square has an altogether different tone to it than the last time the party managed to somewhat limp back, having survived the Goblin Stone. This time they've won a prize from it as they make their way back out into the light and through the streets. But what else do you all recall from last session? How about you, Nick? Anything that I left out that you wanted to remind everybody of?
Cool, Harry, I remember that. I don't have anything terribly dramatic. I was very anxious. I think there was a lot of interesting conflict in, like, when do we get the hell out of there and when do we stay? It was a big kind of, like, we were really tense there. Like, how many people can we save? Are we all going to die? With everything coming in, I know it was super, super close there. I was excited about it. I would have liked to have kept going. I would have kept, like, maybe doing a couple more rounds and seeing what happened, but I was, relieved that we escaped, so I was pretty happy to be out of there. It was very exciting.
Yeah, heck yeah. Cliff, out of another scrape, but few times have you been in a scrape with other people and everybody survived. You've been the lone survivor more than once, I imagine.
Yeah, or the lone captor.
Yeah. Well, how about you, Millie?
Well,
I'm sorry.
I had a Lokag with me, so I wasn't a lone captor.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, how about you, Jay Fink? What do you recall from last session?
Not a whole lot else to add. I know we blew up some tunnels and saved a lot of people after a bit of a dirt trying to figure out how to get the whole party as far south as possible where these people were. Also had a very sneaky goblin who pretended to be a decoy sent to
Yeah. Clever bugger.
Yep. The one that managed to truly use them to its advantage. Heck yeah. Well, how about you, Lokag? Or Big Bright? Any other thoughts or things to remind us of?
No, not particularly. So I appreciate everybody helping me out. Last week I got a little sick in the middle of the stream, so I had to peace out. But
Happens, man.
I heard Lokag did some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with. I'm happy that he was able to contribute saving some people's lives.
Yeah, the party rolled for him too. There was some definitely some good rolls there.
Nice.
Okay, kicked some metal doors in, snapped some chains.
Yes.
Yeah. Heck yeah. All right, X, how about you? Locator?
Viewers saying that the sound is off tonight, that we're got some echoes going on or something, like very tinny sound. So I don't know if that's something you can fix. I remember scrambling for our lives. I thought we were pretty clever in bringing down several areas of the dungeon to try to block the involvement of the goblins who were sneaking up, or not sneaking up, but running up on us. It felt like one of those things where every single party member was playing a part. X getting the tunnel open, Cliff knocking down one side, Lokag knocking down the other side, Millie scrambling trying to get people out and hold off the big guy and all that. So I felt like it was good teamwork. Everybody played a part, and we escaped with our lives, barely. So dragging no corpses, that's a victory. And I remember that X needs more healing spells.
Excellent. All right. Does anybody have any other questions or anything else to add before we jump back into it? All right. So as we return to our characters' positions in that sort of slick-walled, the undulating stone walls of the tunnel that Locator has opened up by clutching the goblin magic user's amulet in his fist. You all are, various points throughout the tunnel, funneling the weaker captors or rescuees out of the stone. You get them out as quickly as you can. And X, you're sort of, you had placed yourself at the entrance to the tunnel. So you're the first one. Now, it's nighttime. And while you can hear some calls and rhyming songs of goblins, you can hear drums outside the walls as well as within the stone itself. But all of that seems to be mostly to the north, sort of echoing around, or at least from the east and west. And back toward the direction of your temporary home, you don't hear like goblin celebrations. You don't see any torches of goblin hordes moving through the area. You can see lights in places where you all know they've holed up. Small sections of town, neighborhoods like the square that you heard the goblins capture a few nights back. Those places are lit up, and you can see that they've maybe got pickets and patrols around them. But you don't get any immediate sense. You get the immediate sense that this sort of quadrant of the city downward toward the south is much quieter than the rest of the city. And while most of the goblins do sleep at night, they have sentries that are up all, or they're, sorry, it's daytime, they're asleep in any case. But they do have people up during the day while the rest of them sleep, just to keep guards and such. And you can see some smoke fires, or cook fires, and smoke rising from those areas. But you don't hear any sound or of other patrols or anything. So what's the first thing that X is, you're going to do to try to ensure that you get these people back to the square?
Use my perception or something. Look around. Make sure that there's nothing sneaking up on us that we don't know about.
Okay. Go ahead and make that perception check.
Uh, 15.
Oh, 15. Okay. You definitely don't see or hear anyone sneaking about the area that you're in. You can see the area, the stone, there's a sort of slope before you of rubble from the buildings of the city, and also chunks of red stone from the Goblin stone itself that are kind of stacked up. So you're standing about 15 feet above the cracked and broken plaza. You've got a pretty good view. You don't see anything moving. You don't hear any sort of sharply whispered words or anything like that. It is as the most silent you've ever heard the city. You don't even hear birds in this area. There's really nothing for them to climb on. Everything's been pasted to rubble.
Okay, well, this is not too far from where we entered, so I assume that we can sort of retrace our steps back the way we came. It was a safe route coming here, so we'll try to assume that it's a safe route going back.
Okay.
And I'll just kind of stealth up and scout ahead and make sure that we slam this hole shut behind when people come out.
Let's see here. So, Millie, one who's a little further down the tunnel. What does Millie do as you are shuffling these people out? You can see X slip off, and it looks like he's moving back toward, back down the slope toward the holes in the ground, and where you disarm the traps. You got the barrel of blasting powder from. Looks like he's moving to retrace your steps and bring the townsfolk through the sewers. What does Millie do?
All right, Millie's probably pulled furthest back, just kind of shepherding people along, making sure anyone who's wounded or weak is being carried. Probably just trying to make sure that those of us who did get out won't be left behind in these last few tunnels.
Okay. You can tell some of the folk are wounded. Some of them are, hobbled by age, others by old wounds, but some hobbled by wounds that are pretty recent. Some of them have been sort of chained up, likely beaten, haven't been fed since they were kidnapped, and they're moving very slow. So you've got 3 people that are wounded enough that they're gonna reduce the party's movement by drastically, down to a quarter, half of a half.
Do they look injured or just feeble and weak from being held prisoner for a while?
The 3 in question look injured. In all 3 of their cases, it doesn't look like something that simple healing magic would help. Would also likely need to be tended otherwise. And so if there's someone in the party that could do a medicine check and maybe examine them, they might be able to help them out. That is provided you all could also heal them afterwards. That could increase your pace back to the square.
We got good cheese.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have good cheeses. That's all I have left for healing. Um, that battle. Let me see if I can find there. Do a medicine check. So, oh,
Maybe we can put together a stretcher or something for people that can't move or walk.
we can just have Locad carry them all.
Yeah, I was gonna say Locag would offer to just carry them.
Put them in a bag, like a giant
I
3-person
mean,
baby
you know,
barn.
one on his back and just pick up one and then the other.
One of them is a
Another one.
halfling.
The halfling sits on
Even
your
better.
shoulders.
Even easier.
Oh yeah.
What's that, Millie?
Master-
So I said even easier for Locad.
So, Lokag, you could get. You could get the halfling without, you know, any other problems. If you're trying to carry 3 of them, it's going to be hard to use your weapon. I would imagine two-handed.
That's fine.
I guess it's a case to be made for them just sort of clinging on, if you know. But you have a backpack.
Yeah. So I think Locag would probably hand his glaive off. He doesn't want to cut anybody. He'd probably hand his glaive off to somebody to carry for him and kind of secure somebody to his back. Maybe loosen the straps on his backpacks and fit the halfling in like a baby. And
Wear the backpack in the front, so it's more like a baby door.
they're just facing me.
So you can see every look of savagery on your face as you go into combat.
It's sweating, sweat just dripping down on it.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
No, and he'll, if we do come across unavoidable combat, he'll probably just set him down.
Okay. There was a fellow that you all rescued that he was wearing a gambeson that looked like it went under, looked like a town guard that had his armor removed. He offers to take the glaive. Seems to know how to swing it.
Perfect.
All right. Don't lose this.
So again, you take all 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's about 370 pounds.
370 additional pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had it written down, and I don't remember what my carrying capacity is. It's quite a bit.
It's ridiculous because it's double, right? Because you're a Goliath. So.
It counts as a large creature.
And you have you're carrying. I'm sure you can carry him. Probably can't do much else, but pretty awesome.
I'll have that for you in a moment.
Okay, that's fine.
That's if we see a wheeled cart later. Put them there. Drag it along.
If you can find one intact.
Okay. My carrying capacity is 540 pounds. So, even with my equipment, I'm good to go.
Nice. Okay. What about Clifford?
I think he'll help X scout ahead. He's a skulker. He can kind of work his way through pretty easily in the dark and hopefully not be seen. So I think him and X, he'll back you up and or even run ahead if you need to. Just to probably be like 60 feet ahead of the crowd. So if there's any danger, we'll catch him. We'll catch it first, and we can warn people.
Okay. In which case, let's see here. If we saw this.
Something along the dark alleyways.
All right. Well, then X and Cliff, go ahead and roll stealth. And Clifford, you can either make a perception or make an investigation check, since you can see that X is looking out and listening, and not sort of looking at your feet and that sort of thing.
Ooh, I got a 20. I got a critception.
Critception. Heck yeah. Okay. And okay, awesome.
You're doing okay.
So there's no sign of, to the south of you, the walls up on top of them, the gatehouses, the precinct, you would see goblins above. You don't see any sign of them as you and your allies, as you all pick your way down the slope, looking over the area, giving a good listen, feeling till it feels like it's the right time, and drawing everyone down the hill. As you work your way southward through the broken remains of buildings, rubble, masonry, and rubble crunching beneath your feet. It's the only real sounds that you hear within 1,000 feet or more. You can hear sounds on the other side of the wall, but that's off to the east and west, likely echoing from much further away.
I don't like this. It's too quiet. He'll whisper to Lokag as he comes up next to him.
Helena whispers a few words to the sort of mangy, old rat, Bubby. She gently places it on the ground. It scampers off between, chunks of rubble. It disappears into cracks in the ground as you all slip ahead. With likely her and Millie, like you said, hanging back and, getting everyone, ahead and sort of bringing up the rear, making sure everyone's not being attacked from behind, but also sort of, pushing them along. Because there are a lot of not very canny people. They're not used to the sort of chaos that the city has survived. There's a lot of fearful eyes and sort of trembling limbs as you step out into the daylight. Their senses of relief wash over them, but you get the feeling that this is the first time they've really seen all the wreckage. Most of them were likely whisked into the stone the day it fell, and this whole area was covered in dust. So that relief of the sun's light on their skin is balanced with they're just speechless, seeing what's happened to the city. But, they nod mutely and shuffle after you. Those that are more helpful, guiding the older ones or the more fearful ones along by the elbow in some cases. And Lokag, of course, positively bristling with humanity, laden with 3 different folk. As you all make your way, one by one back underground, down into the hideout where you spent the evening. First, you see Bubby scamper along your path and make its way back to Helena. Helena picks it up. It says, "Well, good news, everyone. Bubby has some friends. Bubby has some friends nearby. Some of them say there's trouble. Others say there's not. The ones that say there's not can help guide us to safer paths. That is if... Well, yeah, she wouldn't say that. Finally, rat friends coming together," she says, looking around.
X would probably just stand there for a second and then go, "Follow the swarm."
It's the safest option.
Well, it's not as simple as all that. They can go places we can't, and we can go places they can't. So we can't exactly follow them step for step. But it should be a deal of help, says the former rat catcher.
As Cliff is moving along, he's running his fingers through the stone walls and putting little symbols, little hobo signs, sort of pointing back the way they came. He has mold earth now, so he can do a little minor things to the stones. So.
Okay. Do you tell anybody about this?
Yeah, he'll just do it instinctively. Like, he doesn't even remember when he started doing it, but it just sort of weird things sort of keep coming out of him, like instinctually that he doesn't even know he's doing himself, maybe.
There's probably some of the symbols you don't quite recognize.
Maybe. Yeah, it's some weird Celtic symbols that he knows what they mean intuitively, I think, but I don't think he necessarily knows where they come from.
Interesting.
But anyway, if we need to find a way back, he'll know.
Right. Okay. So, the next part is the next challenge would be as you're making your way down into, the night market, the dome. You all climbed up a broken buttress that sort of swung free and angled itself out toward the middle of the domed area, down in the sewers. So, getting some of these folks down there. Some of them are not going to be able to climb. There are some sure-footed among them, but definitely some that aren't so much. Now, Lokag, you can still climb with the ones on your back that are there. But you've got about 6 others that are definitely gonna fall if they climb, unless they just completely luck out.
Make that 7.
So, any thoughts for that, Millie?
We have the climber's kit. Perhaps we make a quick rope walkway, rope lead.
Is there a pulley anywhere?
Not unless you all picked one up from the square at some point. Block and tackle or anything like that.
Grappling hook and some rope. But...
We have climbing gear. Is there anything in climbing gear that would let us, rappel them down?
Yeah, for sure.
We have ropes.
Pitons, too. We got pitons. We can...
Yeah, someone could belay them.
Yeah. That's the way to do it. Right.
And then it's essentially your athletics check instead of theirs. And with the
There's
climbing...
also throwing.
As a counterweight.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's an option. I'm guessing you all convinced Lokag to lower people down.
Sure.
Are there any dwarves?
There is, actually.
They could be the anchor holding the back of the line.
Okay.
We may have to throw that one just for the memes.
All right, so you all spend a little bit of time tying the folks up, one by one, harnessing them up, or at least, wrapping the rope around them in a way that's not going to tighten and hurt them. And with a large enough group, I don't think there's any checks needed for that. But it does take about 15 minutes. And X, you do start to hear sounds, but they're underground. The way that the horrible, the goblins without lips, that had the sharp teeth, that had the horrifying scream, that seemed immune to pain. The way they came. But the sounds themselves remind you of hobgoblins. You all could make a survival check, as the sound is bouncing through corridors underground. It's hard to gauge exactly how far it is or what direction it's really coming from. All right, looks like 18 survival for Clifford, 10 for Millie, a 6 for X. Clifford, you'd say it's, at this point, you're getting the last couple of people down through the dome, into the floor of the domed area. But it sounds like they're maybe 150 feet away. They're not dashing, but they're moving, with purpose. Definitely sounds like the hobgoblins.
They're moving towards us?
You think so? Or at least they're moving toward the outside of the stone. Seems
Would
likely
it make sense
that...
for us to be quiet for a minute and wait for them to pass, or is it like more of a we better get the hell out of here situation?
It's more of a you better get out of here situation.
All right, I'll give the signal to like start shoving people quietly. I'll race ahead. Point. Hold up like a number of how many I saw. I don't know numbers over 10. So.
Well, you could, yeah, you heard them.
That-
Sounds like a small company, maybe 8 or 10.
yeah, we want to get some moonlight between us. So.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I misspoke at the beginning of the session. It is daytime. You all timed
Oh,
it
it
because
is
goblins sleep
all right,
during the
yes,
day.
daylight. How can they sleep at night?
They don't. They sleep during the day.
Except these guys. So yeah, I'll let everyone know. Like, move on. Let's get out of here. Try to find it. Is there? I don't know if there's a place we can sequester or hold up. The rats know of a nook.
Oh, they know of lots of nooks. I don't know if they know of a nook that we could all hide in.
Yeah. If there's nothing we can hide in, then we got to move. So that's the plan.
Well, Millie and I know this place better than anyone. We can easily be able to lose them, unless we don't want to lose them, says Helena. We do want to lose them, don't we?
We want to lose.
I think losing them is our best bet here.
Cliff looks pensively behind us.
Others with us.
All right, taking
Let us move.
Taking care of something really quick.
Dun, 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 dun.
Pardon me. Just another moment.
We have raised more than 29% for Big Bride to give us another recap.
Oh, nice.
13% to get us a health potion. We certainly need all of the amounts we can have. Those.
Say again? Did we get through the unlock a health potion?
No health potion yet.
No health potion yet, okay.
In fact, we're closer to Big Bride giving us a new recap than a health potion.
That's more exciting to me. Although potions can definitely they can turn the tide of the battle. That could be pretty exciting. Seems like let's see here. All right. Well, you quickly get the other two, the last remaining of the townsfolk, down. Now, on top of being sort of covered in masonry dust, bruised, caked with sweat, and just with worn and battered expressions, now your allies are covered in the grime and muck of the sewer stones themselves. As you all collect your ropes back together and start to whisk these folks through the sewers. Thanks to Millie and Helena, who both know the place, know the city so well, there's plenty of nooks and crannies. And with the little cadre of rats that are checking in through Bubby, you all are getting insight into where safer areas are to help you all navigate more quickly. You pass areas where you are certain there's slimes. As you get nearer to the square, you pass through, the rats themselves. Bubby points out to Helena a path that leads to the undercrofts of the strange manor that the humanoid spy escaped into after its meeting with the goblin bosses. Welcome. It looks like Pon Pon was able to join us. Welcome, Pon Pon.
Hi.
Hello. So we are heading our way back to the square. The party has decided to move underground.
I hear
The
you.
rats are leading the way. Sorry.
Was that Pon Pon?
I hear you're using my rats.
Yes.
Hope you're not mad
Treating
at us.
them well. We're treating them well, I hope.
Well, now that you're here, you tell us.
I've only caught the tail end. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you. So Pon Pon, Helena, when you all stepped out of the stone, sent Bubby off to scout a little bit to maybe find some other rats in the area. As you were moving down the hill, back through a break in the ground, into the little, the back down into the domed area down the sewers. By the, Bubby quickly checked back in with you and let you know that there are, there are other rats in the area, and started giving you information on where danger was and where danger wasn't, helping you all navigate kind of more swiftly back toward the square. But so far, no one else has dealt with the rats at all. So it's just Helena. So
That's probably for the best.
yeah, and we all know Helena's treating the rats really well. And how is she doing? How is she treating the rats? What's she doing? Imagine she was excited to check in with her friends again.
Yeah, I mean, up to this point, I don't think she's quite revealed to her party just... Not only does she have Bubby as a close intimate, but she is quite well acquainted with many rats. And this is demonstrated as she summons them to her. She's quite familiar. She has names for several of them. I'm sure one is Jack, another one's Bill, Bartholomew, and I don't know, Tank. He's really big. And she's speaking in little squeaks and hisses and grumbles, and the rats respond accordingly. She has a repertoire with them, and I think that's true. But up until this point, she it's a sign of trust to her party. They're like, "Ah, fine, I'll let you see what my life is really about. Okay, here it is. My friends are gonna help us."
So the townsfolk, most of them not reacting well to. They're sort of staring at the rats. They're watching Helena uncertainly. Not so much her, but the rats. Up until this point, they hadn't really looked too much at any one of you, aside from the two most noticeable ones: Millie with gleaming golden skin and a flaming sword, and the half giant Lokag. It's not exactly, yeah. They're horrified by the rats. You've seen that many times, but the looks they give you are curious and considering, where you're used to that same judgment that they give the rats immediately being, passed on to you because you associate with them. These looks are mostly curious, like one of our saviors talks to rats. You do recognize a few of them as well. Folks that, again, that feeling of people looking at you different. The dwarf, you recognize him. His name is Berdenball. He is Bardubel's son. And the dwarf that you were supposed to, or that he had asked you to rescue before he was taken down by goblins. A promising young smith, Bardubel called him.
Is this someone we all collectively recognize, or just Helena?
Helena and Millie would probably both. You are the most familiar with people in the city.
Okay. So I imagine she'd be happy to see him alive.
That's up to you.
I think generally she likes to know she's doing a good job. What did you say his name was again?
Berdenbell.
Berdenbell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Berdenbell, look at you breathing. Good to see you.
I am, thanks the gods. By you. By your actions.
Oh, stop. No, seriously.
Well, I won't. My father didn't teach me false modesty.
Okay, fine.
You did quite a bit of work back there. And, you got us all free.
Just all in a day's work. She kisses her very dirty bicep.
Lena, you've changed since all this happened. Changed quite a bit.
Glow up, as the kids say.
Not heard the term. I don't get to hang out with the other kids much. Mostly in the forges. Listen to Da.
That's okay, they don't know anything anyway.
That's what Da says. Never expected you to say anything like him. Yeah, you've changed, yeah.
Looks like I'm full of surprises.
Right you are, says the young dwarf. Right you are.
So you working on anything? Now that you're back and alive?
Well, whatever Da puts in my hands. Don't imagine anything's been finished since everything happened.
Nah, I guess not.
Look, I think somebody needs to break the news to him. His dad's dead, right?
Yeah.
He was one of the guys that we couldn't rescue.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
man.
revived that last battle with Square.
Perhaps
X
we wait
will-
till we get back.
Wait, what's that? So, Big Bri, what did you say?
No, I said perhaps we wait till we get back, but no, it's. Go ahead, X.
Yeah, probably best to wait till we get back.
You do have the bearer of bad news with
Yeah, Helena's just trying to keep him distracted, to be honest. She's not good with hard feelings.
Well, it'll be good to get back to the forge. Maybe get it going again. I'm sure there's things need to be made. Work needs to be done. It'd be good. Get my hands on a hammer again. I'll have to make something to thank you all.
X will point at Millie and say that he should work on making her the finest armor that he knows how to make.
Nothing too heavy. I can't carry as much around as someone like Locag there.
I could. As long as Dog gives the okay. It's his forge. I'd be happy to.
I'm sure he would approve.
Aye. It's a good amount of metal for something like a breastplate, pauldrons, and tassets. So, still. Have to check with him, but I doubt he'll argue.
Two cunning individuals who unfortunately sourced some of that for you.
Well, now, if you're supplying, I've got some free time. We should talk of all this later. I'll learn what work needs to be done, who gets to do it once we're back in the square, and I've had a hot meal. Square is still together, isn't it? That where we're going?
It will be much different than you remember it, in many ways.
Yeah, everything's
We must keep moving.
So with your companions, your allies, and your new charges, most of them sort of stumbling forward in the dark, even by the light of guttering torches. You all move through some other familiar areas. Before you all are coming back out, coming up an old, uneven set of stone stairs that ascend back to the sunlight. Just the block over a nearby alley from the square. This time, you all come in from the north, weaving your way. X, you and Clifford up toward the front, you quickly catch sight of lookouts on the buildings above. Some of the wharf rats, or at least one of the wharf rats. Once they figure out who you are, they gesture and wave, and you hear a shout at the town. The people are warned of your coming. Now that you're, once you're sort of all back up out on the street and weaving your way back toward the square, you all can hear life going on and work going on in the square. Has a quiet, careful quality, as if no one wants to live too loud or draw too much attention to the square. But it's not exactly dour. You can hear a burst of muted laughter. You can hear someone chanting work song as something is hammered on inside the square. Once you all are... Go ahead.
Once we kind of move past, I'll sign to the wharf rat up above, like keep an eye out for goblins, anything behind us.
The young woman gives a salute and clambers higher up onto one of the chimneys. where she can get a longer view. By the time you've made your way around to the northern entrance to the square, the guards up front, seems like, have already been warned. A shout from beyond the sort of curtained and tapestried barricade. Millie, and our dungeon delvers, says Pell's voice from the other side. We heard you was back. You hear the rasp of wood against stone as they move aside parts of the barricade.
It's us, but keep working on names.
The danger delvers. The stone cutters. Oh, we've been passing names back and forth all day. Nothing stuck yet. We'll figure it out though. We'll come up with something. Something you hate and everyone loves.
I hope I really hate it.
Well, with all due respect, ma'am, we're all afraid of you, so we hope you rather like it.
No, but I want to hate it.
That's a bit confusing for us, ma'am.
Definitely. Figure that one out.
If you want her to like it, just call us the 5 rats.
Rats, huh? Okay, all right, boys and girls, it's something to do with rats. Get to work with that, says Pell, shouting back to some of the others. There's some chuckles and laughter all the way back in the square as some other folks. He's shouting pretty loud.
We've got several severely wounded and many injured or tired here.
All right, then we'll put a double on it, says Pell. Ooh, let's see here. Get dramatic. So, in a sort of chorus of, rasping wood and banter, you can hear folks getting closer to the barricades, not like right around it, but folk that maybe aren't working or are hopeful, coming out from their homes or place of work. And soon you all are filtering your way into the square. Tar and Wynn sort of hanging back, with say, like Lokag and Millie and Helena helping to bring up the rear, as the other two scouts, have been the tip of the spear, so to speak. There are relieved sighs, gasps, almost maddened laughter as there's weeping, cheers of thanks as the people that you've rescued begin to one by one slip through the barricade. They only open it enough for like 1 or 2 people to get through. They widen enough for the wounded and for Lokag with his several people to get through, and they sort of push it to while the rest of you are coming in, forcing everybody to slip through single file. Some of the folks make a beeline for people standing there. Others move out into the square as if uncertain of what to do. This isn't their place, and they don't necessarily know anybody here. They just got taken from somewhere in this quadrant of the city. They likely recognize the place, and maybe recognize some people by name. But they're unfamiliar. One goes to an empty forge, or begins to move toward an empty forge. But while we're here now, before anything else, we are going to take a moment. We're going to highlight our tokens And so we're using a new system here. We moved on to jump gate. I'm still getting used to it. So let me drop initiatives out of here from last session. Go ahead and highlight your tokens and roll initiative. And this will just be, for RP, prep, and such like that. Well, let me adjust my lights.
It was really delayed.
I see that. All right, and one for X.
I'm struggling with the map here for a second. Hang on.
Okay. Anything I can do?
No, it was the slider bar kept disappearing. So like I would try to move the map and the slider bar just went away.
Okay.
It goes like clear, makes it nigh impossible to see on the map.
You think what makes it nigh impossible?
So it goes clear. I don't know if you see that on here.
Mm-mm.
Oh, I see. There's just like a teeny tiny shadow that you can see. Got it.
Okay, I think I'm kind of lost. I'm not sure what y'all are saying.
No, it's just with the Roll20 interface.
Mm-hmm.
No problem.
Okay.
I'm figuring
You were
it out.
talking about going clear, and I thought you were talking about Scientology or something. So,
You're all lizards from space.
All right, so up at the top of the order is Clifford. Once you've gotten the last of the people in, the barricade is being scooted back into place. There's some townfolk standing around. You can see that there's sandbags or bags of dirt, soil, and rubble have been filled and stacked up, adding to the fortifications around all the alleys and roads coming into the square.
look, I'm off the clock, all right? And he goes to the bar directly. He doesn't care if anyone joins him or not. He's tired. He needs a break, so that's where he's going.
Okay. As you make your way there, you can see the dwarven woman, the bard, Baradwin, sort of hustling toward you. She's got a drum hung over her shoulder, and a couple of flutes that are kind of sticking and falling out of her pockets. Late. I meant to be there to, a little fanfare to, well, drink with you?
Oh, I don't mind, just let me have access to the keg, and I'll just take, you can run off, and I'll take care of myself just fine, here.
Everyone's in already. I may as well play one from here. She pulls out one of her whistles and begins to play a tune on it.
Yeah,
High-pitched and fast-paced, jaunty and full of flourishes.
Nice.
Baba Brune, he doesn't see you at first. He makes his way toward the door, and he sees you coming up. Clifford! You still alive?
Yeah, can you believe it?
I'm not surprised a bit. After what I've seen you all do here in the square. Not surprised a bit. But, come. You look like you could use a drink.
Oh, you have no idea. You gotta hear the stories we gotta tell about what happened in there, rescuing that whole mess of town folk. We've been trying to find out where the hell they are for days, and only coming in and running away and going back and forth and never finding nothing. And finally, we found them all sequestered away in a prison. Thanks to Lokag breaking through all those gates. Man, he just smashed right through from one gate to another like a bull, like an elephant, just crashing through.
Did he now? I'd like to have seen that.
He had 3 of them on his shoulders, just running out of that place.
I did see that now.
And they were coming after us, but we held them back and dropped the whole ceiling on them. It was something, I'll tell you.
Well,
now, I'm losing my voice. I gotta have something to drink.
Yeah, sit. And Baradwin sort of finishes her tune and says, "Now, not another word. I'm the first to hear the stories. We're going to make a production out of this. So you keep the rest of the stories under your hat until I've had a chance to talk to everyone. And you're going to tell your stories all together in front of everyone. Do you hear?" says the bard.
Like we're on trial.
Usually when I got, some people that I'm investigating, I get them alone when I ask their stories so they don't make up lies together. But, I suppose you can trust us.
Oh, but that's, she looks around, precisely what we want. Every good tale has to be embellished after all. And you need to be around to get the proper attention. And most importantly, the people would benefit from seeing you stand up and take credit and get any accolades they want to send you. It's important to them. You all have done a lot, and without you, a lot of people think, She makes a non-committal gesture. It tells you she doesn't really like talking about death.
Yeah, well, I kind of look back and they're like, he's not looking for any kind of glory. He's just glad we're alive,
Well, think of it as a public service, says the bard. All right, so as Clifford makes it, moves directly down to Baba Brune's place, what does Lokag do as he steps in, 3 people on your shoulders, or 1 in the pack? What does Lokag do? What's the first thing he does?
So, Lokag is going to take the 3 injured over to the makeshift infirmary and drop them off. Here, take good care of these folk. They have not seen a good time in the Goblin camp like the others.
They quickly give you a place to set them down, and water and materials are brought over to clean their wounds and begin to tend them. They each thank you, saying, halfling, "Can't thank you enough. We would have never gotten out of there if it wasn't for you and your friends."
Well, I don't fancy meeting their masters, and I figured you wouldn't either. They don't seem to be very good hosts. Keeping you in cages like that.
No, I'd say they're pretty poor hosts, my lord.
It's pronounced Lokag.
You're funny, my lord Lokag.
Okay, well, Lokag's gonna clear his throat, just like, not really. He's never been called Lord before, so it's kind of weird to him.
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm gonna go have a drink then. You get better or whatever. Get strong like me. Drink your milk."
I'll do my best.
Look, Egg leaves as they're saying that. He's just like turns and walks away. And heads down to the tavern. Encounters he timely bursts through the tavern doors as Clifford's talking about how Lokag busted through the cage gates. just like perfectly timed.
Careful, little man. Those aren't iron. Some think you don't know your own strength there, Tiny. He grins.
Oh, and Lokag will laugh, and he'll say, he'll just be like, Baba Brew, I could use a drink, my friend.
Aye, you could use two.
I do have two hands. And he'll reach out both his hands.
He hands an empty cup in one and, a cup that he was just filling in the other. He gestures toward the keg and, turns it to begin, to pour your second cup for you.
And I think Lokag would kind of chum around with some of the people in the tavern and see if he could grab a bite to eat.
Okay. So not much food here. They do just make some whatever bread twists and stuff that they can at I think your cantina at the eatery, but it's not a whole. There's not really any food to speak of here. Just stuff to munch on while you drink.
I think you probably know that. He spent quite a bit of time here.
Oh, yeah.
This is his stop.
Oh yeah.
He might grab what would be a normal plate size for someone. He'd grab a handful and just be like, he's gonna down one of the beers, slam it down, and he'll wave the full one and says, "I'll be back," and heads out to the dining hall in search of a proper meal. Full of protein, as Lokag's obsessed with getting his daily intake of protein to keep his muscles big.
Of course.
So,
So as you're heading out of the tavern, the dapper young dwarf kind of falls into step with you, although she's got to take 2 steps for your one. Welcome back, Lokag. You looked like you've covered yourself in stone, dust, and goblin blood. A good day?
Oh, it was a very good day for us. We got a bunch of people back, and, well, not a great day for goblins. It is hard fighting in the stone, but it is a good contest of skill, I think. They are small but crafty. I underestimate them at first, but now I see that they are tricksy in their own way, and formidable foes. Quality fight. Honorable, worthy.
So all this is like a game to you, then? She doesn't seem offended, but genuinely curious.
A game? I don't know if it's so much a game as... I think contest is a better word. All life is contest.
I suppose that's true. Many of the stories would certainly suggest that, wouldn't they?
Indeed.
Well, I spent a bit of time talking to, I started to talk to Cliff, wanted to talk to you. So if you're going to the cantina, I'll probably join you for a bit and hear more of your stories. But I would ask that you keep some of those details close, just maybe the highlights and just the barest hint. I am cooking up a performance, a moment. I want to set a proper stage for you all, and both for your stories and the proper embellishments and such. I think that the people of the square, well, they deserve to know what happened, certainly, but I think they could use a good story from those that have been helping them the most. Besides, Champion's Return and all that, it's basically tradition around here anyway. I mean, you're not from Arabelle, so you might not know that, but I imagine everybody else, they're seeing this coming. I just thought I would jump ahead of it and formalize it so that you all aren't caught flat-footed later on after everybody eats and everybody surrounds you and gets real quiet and makes you feel real awkward. I thought I would, just sort of get it started early. and maybe make myself look good in the process.
So your contest of life is with words. This is admirable approach.
Well, I suppose. It's definitely how I fight poverty. The bard.
Lokag will start to in I think that Lokag is unable to not go into detail, and he starts rattling off like an account, scene by scene, of like his perspective on everything. He's not really sure how they got into the stone. Serious Face made the rock split, and they were there, and they were in somebody's bedroom, and they interrupted their nap. He talks about the holes in the floor, and then like just the, uh, he'll probably mention uh, how the goblins set up very, very lifelike, realistic dummies of themselves, and that was part of their being tricksome, and then more holes in the floor. So he's just going to go on and on down through the slog.
She immediately pulls out a notebook and begins to jot certain notes, kind of repeating what you said in rhyme, whether neat or sloppy. She's just, sort of throwing ideas together. Through broken stone, and through doors of steel. Oh, this is a great start. So she kind of follows you into the canteen until you're so busy eating that she can't really understand what you're saying anymore. And then, at that point, she wanders off to find the next person. All right, so what about X? What does X do as you come into the stone?
I think X is going to take the smith's son over to the smithy and sort of, explain the situation and what happened and his new responsibilities, and sort of try to move him pretty quickly through the, stages of disbelief or anger, and just be like, okay, here's what happened. We need somebody in charge of the smith, and you're going to be it. And sorry about your dad and all that. But so X will give him the rundown and what to expect, and try to take care of that.
He is furious. His first reaction is he's furious. He starts shouting
Yep.
about goblins. He shouts about, well, he begins to start to shout angrily about the people in the square, but he seems to catch himself, sort of bites those words off. And you talk to him a little bit. He is still angry, and it's probably going to be definitely some time. But you both, he wants to get back into the forge. Whether it's to have his hands busy or to have something to hit, you're not sure.
The finer armor and weapons you can build for us, the more of these we can take revenge upon. Trust us to balance the scales for your father.
Any dwarf could hammer out a crowbar, sharpen it up, call it a sword. It takes time to make something worthy of the word weapon. It takes time to make something worthy of the smith. Come around later tonight. I'll have a stock of materials, have an idea of what we have in stock. And I can get working on something. I'm no magi. What I can make, mostly based on the materials I can get and what we have. But,
Well, keep your mind occupied, lad. The town needs you.
there's one thing I can do. Every one of my family has it in them to make one item of power, one thing of magic, as you might think it. Talk to your friends, and you see what they need: a single weapon or piece of armor, magicked up with the power of my blood as a gift.
I'd say if you want prestige for your family, you want to make something memorable, fill the hands of the big one. But we shall see what they say.
Very well.
I'm thinking an awesome weapon for Locag would be fantastic, but we'll discuss that as a group. I think the other thing X would do is, there's some people here that are expecting their family members or loved ones to be coming back with this group of prisoners, and they're not. We're a few short of everyone, for sure. So I think X would be seeking out the people who are, looking and not finding their loved ones and trying to give them comfort and consolement as well.
Okay. So, what do you say to them? Those very common questions. Why? Where are they? Where are they now? That sort of thing. What might X, based on his connection to Matcha, how might he answer that question? What might he say?
So X is technically still at 1 hit point. So X looks every bit like this battle was a battle to the death. So I think he would explain it that way.
That's a dramatic moment too, coming in. You're still all battle weary. You haven't rested, taken time for yourself, and sitting with these people. That's going to have an impact on them, I imagine. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So X is looking pretty rough, and he's going to explain that it was a fight to the bitter end, and we saved everyone we could, but some of the goblin locks and chains were beyond our means to free the people within them, and we got everyone we could, but in the end we had to run for our lives and save the ones. And I'll try to make it noble. I'll just for the sake of people's memory and closure, that their family members all died bravely and not crying for help and whatnot, but
telling you to save others first, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly, and cheering us on and saying save the ones you can, and so I'll try to give them honorable. What's the word I'm looking for? Eulogy's not the right word, but you know what I'm saying. I'll say nice words so that the family can remember them in a good way, and just let them know that those in our group are disappointed that we couldn't save everybody, and we take it as a responsibility to help them, in whatever way they need. So I don't know if I just don't want the people missing a husband to fall in hard times or whatever. So we'll offer aid, and we got the church set up so they can go there and, look for help if they need it.
Okay.
Sell them to church some more.
So if you have a persuasion check, make that. I would also allow religion. You can make that with advantage.
I'm not really good at either one of those.
Yeah.
Where's the advantage button? Oh no.
So it's up toward the center. What is it called? I think it's toggle or something. Let me open it up real quick.
It says automatic right now.
Yeah, it should default says automatic, right?
It's a drop-down menu.
Yeah, it's not dropping down for me, so I'll just roll twice and
that's fine.
Call it good.
Yeah.
Did that roll or not? Oh, there it comes in finally. 11.
Okay. You had another one with advantage.
I tried.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying.
Yeah, okay. This is pretty slow.
Oh God, I don't know what just happened. I think I saw like 6 dice roll.
There we go. Okay. So I see.
Oh wow, I rolled everything but persuasion. Sorry, I
That's
just
all right.
struggle
Yeah,
with the
no.
interface.
So Roll20 has something new called Jump Gate, where they and that's what they're using for the 2024 rule set. So we'd started this before they released it, using the 2024 rules, but having homebrewed it in 2014 Roll20. So most recently, we just remade the characters with the proper setup, and we're now testing it out. It's still in beta.
Not better than 11. 11, it will
Okay.
be what it is.
Okay. You bring some comfort, and you can tell that giving the families that extra bit of that they died well, or that they weren't crying for help when you left them behind. They accepted it or pushed others into your hands first, and that sort of thing. You can tell it had a strong impact on them. But they don't say much more after that. They seem pretty quiet and ready to be to themselves, to commiserate with one another about that. But they thank you, and they all say that they wish they could repay you somehow. And they thank you for coming to see them and bringing them, letting them know what happened. So what about Millie? What does Millie do as she comes into the square at sort of the back of the pack with a bunch of the townsfolk?
I think mainly Millie is kind of looking around to see where people are going. Seeing X kind of take lead on ensuring people have either found others or found their place or have not found their place but are intended to. I think Millie heads for the called dining hall there and just informs Ruagna and anyone working, like, hey, we've got whatever it was, 30 more mouths to feed.
Right.
And a lot of hungry people. So I'll kind of go in and help them get prepared for whatever food we have and kind of do a quick check, just kind of what do we have? How is it looking for resources?
It's looking pretty thin. Like food's being rationed out. You all are able to eat your fill because you all are doing so much, and also the people that are doing heavy work and the people that are like guarding and defending the square, they all get full portions as well. But everybody else is on like quarter rations. On quarter rations, there's probably 3 days more worth of food in the square. There are small excursions and raids out to find food here and there. But it's a constant problem.
So Millie will note that as something to talk to with Win Tar, but it's also kind of formulating what do we have Win and Tar do um, before they start getting up to mischief here in the square.
That's a good question. Perhaps you meet up with, talk to your allies about that too. Is there anything else that Millie does over the next, 10, 20 minutes after entering the square?
Mainly just help prepare a meal for people, get food out to people.
Okay. All right. So as you all, no one really bothers you except the bard. One by one, she comes to each one of you and tries to get as much detail about the story She picks up on strange things. She seems to look at your face and hands, and she writes at odd times. Like she's not writing what you say, but other things that are in her head. She doesn't let you peek into the book at all. And she says to each one of you that the square is going to toast you and feast you tonight. And for you,
That's necessary.
say again.
If Bard comes over, I'm gonna push back.
Okay, what do you say?
Just, it's not necessary. We're already low on food. We're already low on supply. I'm not doing this for fame.
No. I don't think anyone thinks that you are. Especially you. It's not that. It's hard to explain. But if you were in our position, I think you'd understand. There's food out there. We're scraping by. But if the people can do that, it would mean... you're right, the food is important. But...
We just need a gathering.
what's a gathering without food? We can all drink, but that's not for everybody, and it wouldn't be good to have all of us, I don't think, intoxicated. So what do we have if not food? And
No, look, might already be.
well,
I look to Alina.
these,
Did you ever with another person?
I didn't catch that. Sorry about that,
Did
Joe.
we ever figure out where we sent our main rat, whose name I'm misplacing?
Oh, Bubby.
Bubby. We sent Bubby after the spy.
Yes. So you know where the manor is, where that spy fled to. And you and Helena know how to get to it. But I think, let's see here. Now that we're back in the square, I think this might be a good time for a short break. Does that sound good to everybody? All right. So, yeah, you'll have just returned.
Go
ahead.
What's Helena doing while she's in the square? I don't think we got to her. I know we were taking a short break.
That is a good question. We can come back to her. I'm seeing. Yeah, it is our general break time, and I'm seeing you all in chat saying, "Hey, let's take a break."
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's all right with you, Pon, we can come back to you when we come back from our break. And you are muted, by the way.
I guess.
Okay, I mean, let's see here.
I just don't know why we skipped my turn.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a short break, and I'll talk to you in a sec.
Okay.
All right. All right, so we're gonna take a short break, gang, and we'll be back in 10.
Sounds good.
I'm master of the ring, it's no big thing. With my weapon I swing, pain that I bring would make the bard sing. Some called me the king, but you don't have to call me that. It was the name the fans had for me, you know. You can call me Lokag, or just buy me another beer. I don't tell any lies, I'm massive in size. I think it's quite wise when my hammer flies. The naughty goblin dies, the pretty lady cries, but I can compromise. Because I'm really cool and like to do my thing. you know. You can call me low-cack, or just buy me another beer. I can dance a jig, I can laugh real big, I can snap you like twig, put you in the brig. I don't wear a wig, I do eat like a pig, though please not that fig. I'm really not a fan of those day-type fruits, you know. You can call me low-cack, or just buy me another beer. I lead the group, cause I'm the poop. If you want the scoop, I'll keep you in the loop. Be part of my troop, then I'll give you really big hugs and stuff, because I do that with people I like, you know? You can call me low-cack, or just buy me another beer.
But me, I'm chaos. Some love order, but I'm out of control. I don't fit in, but that doesn't matter. Never wanted anything different anyway. I'm happy this way. I'm free, vermin lady for life, with a bow and a knife. A vermin lady brings death. Don't get in my way. I know the hidden paths. I'm under your feet. You look right past me. You don't even see, but that's fine by me. I got no use for your civilized ways that never look fun to me anyhow. I'm happy this way. I'm free, vermin lady for life, with a bow and a knife. A vermin lady brings death. Don't get in my way. Yeah, I like rats. Yeah, I like cheese. Yeah, I smell bad. I probably have fleas again. Some call me girl. Some call me liar. Some call me thief, some call me for hire. You can call me that's my name, don't use it in vain, or your future will be filled with a swarm of rats. I'm happy this way. I'm free, vermin lady for life, with a bow and a knife. A vermin lady brings death. Don't get in my way.
You won't see me coming, I disappear for fun. Name's Cliff, me and the shadows are one. I'm after a bounty, won't help them to run. They'll notice me when I fire my gun. My leg is stiff again today. This coffee's a bit cold for my liking. People what live in comfortable homes with pretty gardens, they just never get to see much of the world. Me, I go everywhere, get hired to run down scum for money, but also 'cause I don't like 'em much. You won't see me coming, I disappear for fun. Name's Cliff, me and the shadows are one. I'm after a bounty, run. They'll notice me when I fire my gun. I don't usually have a posse. Group I'm with now, though, ain't so bad. There's even times when they don't shoot first. Well, better than most, I suppose. You won't see me coming. I disappear for fun. Name's Cliff, me and the shadows are one. I'm after a bounty, won't help them to run. They'll notice me when I fire my gun. I never signed up for this big rock full of goblins falling from the sky. Well, if someone has to step up and protect these folks, might as well be me. They probably can't afford to pay me what I'm worth, but hey, life's an adventure. I really need to remake this coffee. You won't see me coming. I disappear for fun. Name's Cliff, me and the shadows are one. I'm after a bounty, won't help them to run. They'll notice me when I fire my gun. See you folks back in the square.
X once ruled in Kulain's hall. His light was brightest of them all. Fate's cruel knife in sudden strife severed his faith, ruined his life. Long he wandered, heart turned stone, in endless dark his soul alone. Hollow days turned endless night, no way back to the light. He fell against the gale, abandoned, lost and pale. In blackness, terror stride. All he did was hide. He dwelled in black and void. His life's work was destroyed. With the final mournful wail, he crossed the shadow belt. Hold veil.
There's more for you to do, she said, and he was turned away. The frightful journey racked him, his skin turned ashen gray. She gave him ancient lore, miracle of widden root. He bound his soul with arcane tattoos, inked from head to foot.
Has he found purpose once again? Helping, healing, blessing, guiding, making among the alleys, cold and bleak, I learned to stand up for the meek. Never one to start a fight, now called to breach its light. When that stone dropped on Arabelle, they had me headed for a cell. Bridget made her first demand to break my chains and make a stand. I'm champion of Bridget's might. I carry her flame shining bright. Justice by day, peace by night. I vow to make.
Oh, we'll have to come back to it. Sorry about that. We will just have to come back to it. I'll start with it next time. Maybe for our I'll play the outro at the end of the stream tonight. That's true. It is ending credit worthy. Yeah, there's a couple of new songs, one for X and one for Millie, that are both pretty great. You all just heard a little bit of one of them, but I'll play those here at the end of our session tonight. Let's see here. All right, so coming back into it. Allies have, sort of dispersed about the square, going about relaxation or their duties, take care of other business. But what about Helena? What does Helena do when she comes into the square? There you go.
Well, I think she's having kind of like a weird moment. Everyone's telling her she's changed, everything's changed. She doesn't really know what to do with herself, so she kind of goes back over to where her old cart was, which I'm assuming is no longer present.
Oh yeah, no, it's long gone.
Was it about right here, if I recall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Out on the outer edge, yeah.
And I want her to like pull out a couple of pelts, and then maybe like she has like a lean-to, a couple of sticks that she has that she keeps with her that she can put together real quick and throws her pelts over it. And she just kind of creates a small little makeshift tent like she used to do, and she just lays down in it. And she just lays there and she looks out at the city and tries to absorb everything that they've done. And, if anyone comes up, that's whatever. I guess I'll respond to that. But I imagine someone will have to come get her if they want to go somewhere else, because she's tired and she's having a moment. Weird thing to do, but that's what she's doing.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Doing the same thing, but with a bottle. So. You probably won't be comfortable very soon. We'll see.
So yeah, Helena threw a familiar setup again. With everything that's changed, and although for you much has changed for the better, change is still hard. It's still work. You still let go of. You still have to let go of something. And so perhaps that's part of why she's finding some comfort in her little rat fur lean-to. No pelts to sell this time, but this time you don't have to do anything. You can just lie in comfort in your lean-to, and work of the city is being done. It took the city falling apart, Helena, for what you do to be respected. And still, perhaps most of what you do is only respected by a very few. Only your status as a hero and, the rescuing and surviving and killing of goblins But you know, as far as the speaking to rats and even that is well, they're still met with disgust, but your relationship with them is more and more being met with curiosity as people are looking at you differently.
That's really touching.
Make a perception check for Helena.
See how quick I can find it. This is my first roll on the new.
Yeah, okay, right, yeah.
Here it is. Okay, just click on it.
Mythlanders out there watching in chat, thanks for being patient tonight. We've got some tech glitches. We're trying out the new setup on Roll20 here, and it's a little bit slow. Okay, with that
We're
perception, go ahead, Nick.
Just we're all running with a bunch of new levels and fourth level stuff. You know, it's all new spells and abilities, and you know, half the rules have changed. So it's an interesting moment. We're like babes again in the water, just trying to find our way to shore.
That's right, because you all have reached the fourth milestone in the game. You've returned to the square with captives, people that you rescued. You've returned people to their loved ones. And have killed some of the bosses of the stone. So though you all are weary, you all can feel deeper reserves within you, that you only recently discovered. Hey, Pon Pon, do you mind using push to talk? We're getting the clatter from your keyboard, or at least I am. If you don't mind, thank you. So yeah, you all can feel these deeper reserves. You can feel almost like something's on the tip of your tongue, or like there's some connection that your mind is struggling to get you to make. You all feel the need for rest, or contemplation, or prayer, or meditation, or deep consideration to process what those things are. You've seen strange abilities and powers awaken in your allies, things that are the stuff of stories and heroes and legends, the stuff of powerful, important people from history and even from the current era, heroes of war and such like that. Things, yeah, usually reserved for mortals that can sort of step beyond the boundary of, yeah, step beyond the limitations of their form and their awareness. So Yana, as you, I'm sorry, Yana, different character, Helena, you're sort of looking out, watching the square, seeing people reunite with loved ones. You see Tar and Win as they try to sneak off and head toward the pub, the tavern. They have maybe, they each have a drink before Millie has them put to work, gets them involved with an important project, or starts planning the next scouting mission or something with them to keep them occupied. Yeah, you watch as Lokag heads over to the tavern. You can hear the booming bellow of him and Bardubel speaking. You can hear Bradwin in different places. Once, she's down in the tavern talking to Clifford and getting his story. Then she follows Lokag across to the eatery, to the dining hall to get his story. She seeks out X and Millie as well. And before she comes to you, you can see her making her way over towards you, and sort of looks down, sort of gauging you, not sure if she should approach, but you notice something else. you notice Mildred, the owner of the Arms and Armory shop. He's in the doorway. The door is open, and he's sort of looking out as if he's looking around for someone. He looks over and spots you across the square. He kind of raises up on his tiptoes and squints. And it's hard to... It's, you're sort of laying down. There's people moving in between you. You're dozens of feet away. So it's hard to make out his expression. But there's something. You're the person he was looking for. His gaze settles on you. And once he's sort of like... he kind of squints his eyes, and once he seems to visually confirm that it's you, he drops back onto the balls of his feet and watches you for several moments. And he kind of nods respectfully, and goes back into his shop. And as the rest of you are out and about in the square, perhaps only, Lokag, it's up to you. You might still be eating. But any one of you might have noticed this look, so you can go ahead and make perception or insight checks. For everyone else. Clifford, X, Lokag, and Millie. All right, 12 perception for Lokag. You see it, but maybe don't make too much of it. Millie, yeah, you probably don't even notice it. You're busy. Spend a good portion of time in the kitchens, and then going about seeing what work needs to be done, and then wrangling Win and Tar. Clifford, that looks like an Arcana check. Did you click on... Oh, nice. Even better. 24 perception for Clifford. So, Clifford, you also see old Mildred open his... step out to the door of his shop, sort of looking around, rising up on the balls of his feet here and there to spot somebody. You see him. His gaze rests on Helena, and he watches her for a long moment. Something on his face. It's pretty... Go ahead.
What on his face? Like a look of, like, something unnatural?
No. It's uncertainty is the only thing you read. You could, talk to him or and try to get another insight check in talking to him. But
I'm over for a drink. If he wants to, sit with me.
Okay, so you stumble into his shop and say this?
Yeah, I got a basically like a bottle I'm carrying around at this point, just walking around the square.
Mr. Clifford, welcome back. It's good that you've made it. You've all come back. It's more than any we could have hoped for. Come, I'd happy to share a bottle. I have some cups around somewhere. He clatters around behind his desk and finds a couple of copper cups, sets them on the table. Let me pour, please.
Weird things are going on. I don't understand it. Like crazy magic coming out of the earth. Like I could never do that before. I went into this light, and it's made me all. I'm channeling something crazy, and I don't understand it. He just starts kind of going off like in this other direction. He's like the first person he can confess, like he doesn't understand these, weird effects that are happening to him right now.
You've been touched by Bridget's flame. You have the breath of the Dea on you.
It's not me. It's something else, right? Like I'm possessed. What's the difference? It's light. It's dark. I'm dark. I'm not light like them.
Gods are better fit to judge, they say, than you or I. What may seem frightening to a mortal, it might be evil, I suppose, but it could also be good. There's so little most of us understand about the nature of things, after all.
keeping us alive.
And I'd
You know,
say that's good, because being alive has kept all of us alive, and you're all back again. It's
yeah. You
it's
believe it?
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes. He takes a sip of mead from the copper cup. Yes, after it's almost too much to hope for. After so much has gone. This beautiful skyline of the city marred by that ugly thing. But boundaries between people gone too. Beggars sit at the same table with the cousin of a count.
Yep. I don't know how much of the city is. I mean, what did we miss? How much is left?
Well, I couldn't say. Enough. If enough that we're still here, which means those goblins are doing work elsewhere. That stone was full of them. If they had taken the rest of the city, why, they'd already have swept down on us, wouldn't they?
I'm waiting for the next wave.
Something's holding them back or slowing them down. Maybe it's
We
you.
did our.
He sips again. Let's see here. A man named Derlot, a cousin of mine, was among the people you rescued. He's
Tell.
he's the only family I know is still alive, and I owe you. I wish to offer you something. You've already taken the best of my weapons and armor. I've cleared our accounts on it. You and your friends owe me nothing. Thanks for all that you've done, but it doesn't feel like it's enough. If there is something else I can offer, just tell me. I have favors in the square. I'm not sure what an old merchant of arms and armor could do, but
I'll tell you this. You could take my gear, have a look at it, maybe clean it up a little bit, but I just like having the company here. I don't need nothing, running out of bullets. You know how to make bullets? You got me, you got the fixings for that?
I didn't do much of the making. But I do have a small case in the back, which had a powder horn, I think it's called. And had rounds, he called them.
That's what they call him, Phidias. Remember Phidias, right? The old gnomish guy.
It was Phidias that I bought it from. Had I known
No.
that it was you who bought his pistol, I would have offered them when I first saw you, although I probably wouldn't have thought to with the square being full of goblins and all.
Cliff reaches on, just grabs him and hugs him as tight as he can.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
Oh,
you are the perfect human being. You've got Phidias.
Very good. Very good. That's
He lifts him
thank
into
you.
the air a little bit, and he's
you're
just
too
very
kind.
excited about this. Like he's just found like a relic, like the Action Comics #1. This is like the best thing ever.
It's another 10 rounds.
Nice.
Enough powder for 10 rounds.
Awesome. All right, I'll put that in there. Thank you.
Well,
Good times.
I know I shouldn't ask.
Ask me anything, buddy.
The beggar woman, the rat seller.
Ahoyna.
make sure your friends are kind to her. She's important to me. He looks away, and you can make an insight check on this.
All right. Yeah, out of character, I have a sense, but we'll see.
Sure, yeah.
Oh,
24. All right.
Nice.
There is deep regret there. It's you've seen stories like this. She's got to be a family member of his or the child of somebody he deeply cared about. It's only one of those
Any
two
resemblance?
things.
Any physical resemblance?
Let's see here. That's a tough one. Not at first. But when you really look, like right here, where the eyes and the nose meet, the shape of the bridge of the nose, there's a certain expression. He'll raise his eyebrows for emphasis, or when he's sort of startled or asking a question. And though her tone of voice is much different, she'll often do something really similar. He's, quite a bit older, and she's usually covered in grime. But you're good at being able to suss out what somebody really looks like. You're good at, you've had to spot through disguises and stuff like that in your day. So, you can see a family resemblance there for certain. You couldn't say if it's if it's a cousin or if it's a niece, or you couldn't, tell exactly what that is, but they've got to be related.
Well, Cliff will be sure to describe her in like, if I was describing, like, saying what a proud father would want to hear about their kid. Like, he'll talk about how she led us out of the tunnels, and how she's really become the matron of our whole group. Really taking care of everybody, and the marksmanship. I mean, dang, that woman could shoot better than me. And he just takes note of that. And, he says it in a way that understands that this is the kind of thing you might want to feel like a little bit better about your relations going off down into the tunnels and risking their lives. Like, maybe they got their shit together and you don't have to worry about them. So, he'll talk that way to reassure him without actually saying anything.
As you're talking to him, the sunlight coming in from outside starts to sort of, glimmer on the edges of his eyelids as he starts to tear up. He turns his face away, and you can see his shoulders shake softly a couple of times as the old merchant weeps. He draws in a deep, sort of steadying breath. Thank you, Sir Clifford, thank you. That's all I needed to know. And he says, he doesn't turn back to you. He says, take anything that you need. I need to think. And he kind of steps off around his desk and into the back room.
I'll watch over the shop here. It'll be all right. He'll work on cleaning his pistol. He's going to look at those rounds and just get, make sure they're all he's just going to take stock of that. And that's
Okay.
That's his.
So Helena, you watch, you see old Mildred sort of look at you for a moment, nod, and step back into his shop. You watch a few moments later as Clifford goes into the shop, disappears into there for a minute. What does Helena make of this? Does she? Yeah.
Does she hear it? The words?
No, it's too distant.
So she just sees these two people interacting.
Yeah, she knows that Clifford goes into the shop with a bottle, and you hear Clifford say to Mildred, "Have a drink with me," as he's stepping through the door. Mm-hmm. You can hear a little bit, but Mildred's very soft-spoken, and you're at quite a decent distance from the door of the shop. So you wouldn't be able to hear it from there, but if you decided to move up, you might be able to.
I don't think that she would probably have any reason to feel like moved to that. I think she's kind of being a little provocative too, seeing if anybody remembers the lady that was in this tent here. So she can pretend like nothing's happened. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what her angle is, but I know if she interacts with somebody, what it'll be. More that she'll know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think she'd think anything of it, you know.
All right. So at some point, there's a dwarven merchant that managed to survive the first attack. You all have some of her weapons still. She ambles, she makes her way over across the square towards you. She nods approvingly. Gotta get comfort where you find it. Don't mean to bother you, but if you need anything, if you get hungry, I'll run and grab you some. She says to Helena.
Yeah, I would love that. I'm definitely hungry.
Need anything for your tent? We got spare bedrolls and all such.
That sounds delightful. I think I'm about due for a bedroll. Just been sleeping on this hard ground and a few pelts for all these years.
Well, you just stay comfortable there, Helena, and we'll see to you.
I appreciate that. Ah, yes, I'll stay right here. You bring things to me.
Least we could do.
Yes, it is.
As she nods and moves over toward the dining hall to get you food, she shouts at and corrals in a couple of the few kids that are in the square, and gets them. They run across to various shops, and a small stool, a bedroll, a pillow, some tapestries to sort of cover if you want to have privacy, and even a small a pitcher and a clay cup with water, and a small bottle of mead is brought over to you in the next over the next 15-20 minutes.
I feel like I'm a king.
Well, the city's not had a proper king or queen in some time. Council's been ruling everything. Maybe that day will come again.
She looks at him with suspicious and ambitious eyes.
Gila chuckles. Stay hungry, that's what they say.
Not hard for me.
I will do something about that. As she, sets down a small covered basket with bread, a small crock of butter, and some sausage that's already been sort of chopped up. Cold sausage, but still. So, what about, let's see here. Lokag, is there anything else that you do after you finish eating? As the day wears on, work is being done around you. People coming and going. You see Millie come in and begin to work in the kitchens.
I think Lokag would just be, strutting a bit around town, maybe talking to people, telling stories, but at a certain point, he would probably inquire about the food. Having eaten quite a bit, he'd inquire about the food situation in the town square. I know. We kind of hit on that earlier. Everybody is on quarter rations, so he might be poking around for ideas of where to find. Being told that he might poke around to find ideas of where people might think more food would be outside of the square. and start brainstorming a way to get it to the square.
Okay, yeah, people name various places, storehouses and granaries, and they mention the Green Quarter, which is sort of the northwest, the other side of the stone from you all, where it's actually sort of three-dimensional. A lot of it is garden. A lot of the houses and buildings, food's grown on the outside. A lot of rare herbs and such like that, but that's pretty far. Not quite so far away, maybe about half that distance, is the docks, and that is the thing that most everybody agrees is that it's going to be the best bet to find all sorts of supplies, is the docks area. You all have heard continued fighting at the docks, suggesting that there's goblins there. Yes, there's also people defending the place, and you all know with your two urchin friends some quick ways to get there. It may not bypass all of the trouble, but it should drastically reduce the amount of engagements you'll have with goblins if you decide to go that way. That seems to be what everyone's talking about. There's small stores that are found here and there. People go off and they raid houses and basements and find larders that haven't been cleaned out by goblins, and try to bring other townsfolk back and stuff too. So it basically seems like they're getting just enough to be able to subsist on very short rations. And people can only be able to do this for so long before their health starts to suffer.
Okay. I think that he'll store that away for later. Maybe bring that up with the group about going to get some more food for the square, and just inquire about other needs around the square. What do they not have here that they need?
Well, you name it. They're short on everything. They have a little bit of most everything that they need, but they're short on everything.
Right.
There's not. There's. Let's see here. This spring is magical. It only fills up so much every day. So to like keep things clean, to deal with the wounded, for people to drink and cook with, the water barrels are getting shorter. So water, candles, lamp oil, cloth, nails, wood. You also you remember that's been mentioned before. Getting materials out of the stone, where you think a lot of materials are probably going to from the city. So it may, and thinking on that, you think back to the stack of crates that you all found that were all sort of dressed up and like ready to be picked up that you found in the stone. So that's another potential option.
Okay.
But as you check over everything, there's a sense of things barely hanging on. Like there's technically enough of everything, but not enough to last. And they're sort of slowly each day getting a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But yeah, they'll need like a large supply of food soon, to kind of get them off short rations.
Okay. Well, we'll perhaps we will see what we can do about that. The docks may hold several resources that we can get for the short term, maybe easier than bringing them back from the stone, but I think we will have to return to the stone sooner rather than later.
One of the cooks says, well, you brought a lot of people back. We've got good numbers. Not really enough work for us all to do. Maybe some of the strong backs and steady hands can help you all retrieve some goods. I think Pell and the Wharf Rats has taken it upon himself to start teaching lessons. Taking over for you and your friends.
I think Lokag would also, offer to some of the other town folk that look like they are fit. He might round them up and start conducting basic spear lessons with them.
Okay.
Simple formations, thrusts, and start showing them some ropes as far as basic fighting and teaching a very defensive style of fighting to help them, like, hey, utilize cover and the length of your spear, utilizing reach, so to speak.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, awesome. So yeah, once it sort of wears on, by the time it wears on toward afternoon, yeah, look like you are got a class and some people that you're teaching to hold the spear. Very, well, yeah, kids, older folk, some people that are still wounded, but they're healing. They're not like in a dangerous spot. They just have to be careful, And you're teaching really basic stuff, so you get actually a pretty full class.
I mean, he's going to start the class with a very fancy flourish, though. Like, just pick up the edge of his glaive, spin it around behind the back, come around, and do a couple sweeping maneuvers. And he goes, "Okay, forget what you just saw. Get that out of your head, because that never works in combat. Trust me, I've tried."
You get a lot of chuckles and laughs for that. Right on the heels of the sort of impressed gasps and oohs and ahs.
No. He's gonna start with how to hold the spear and stand in a line formation, and he's gonna start by going down the line and yanking the spear out of everyone's hand. So, just showing them, like, not good, nope, absolutely not. Oh, kick your feet like this and bye-bye, spear.
It takes them a while to understand what you're doing, because you don't explain. You just start yanking their spears out of their hands, saying, not good, no good. Until there's one who's obviously, he was trained as a guard. You're not sure he was with it too long, but he's still got the, sort of quilted, padded coat they wear under their armor. He keeps, makes a good show of it. He actually gets jerked forward, sort of stumbling forward. Keeps his grip on the spear.
Nice.
He says,
Very nice.
That's not good either, is it?
Good enough. You are now squad leader of this squadron. Congratulations.
Everybody laughs at that. You're not serious, are you?
Do I look like I'm kidding? And he drops just drops the grin and the facade and just like, he's just dead serious on him. Just, do I look like I'm joking? I am not.
Nope, you look very serious. All right, squad leader it is. Yeah. Well, name's Dalvin. I suppose it's important to know what to call me. I guess you could just call me squad leader. Huh.
Dalvin will work. I like this. It's a good, strong name. And then Lokag go, just go back and then now that he's ripped all the spears out, explain how to hold them and start going through the paces.
Nice. Okay. What about X? What does X do for the next, hour or so?
So when we were in the stone, there was some discussion and we heard about things being stolen, taken from the Tower of Ogma. We were kind of there, like right at the tail end of that stuff being taken out.
Yeah.
Are there any references to that? Are there books or people who might know, like, what was actually in the Tower of Ogma? I feel like X would want to know if the goblins got their hands on a bunch of stuff.
Oh, you know.
How bad is it?
X knows.
Okay.
From your former life, you know exactly what was in there. Give me just a moment to open a note.
Out of character, I was just wondering if we would want to introduce that to the audience, that there are, like, potentially some artifacts planted in the world, if we can find them.
Yeah. So you know that in the glass cases at the bottommost floor of the Tower of Ogma, were relics of the Tuatha De Danann. They were the weapons that these hero gods wielded in their fight against the Firbolg. Weapons that, it said, are held for the defense of Erebel, against the coming of the Fomorians, some force of darkness or cold from another world. They are one you've already found and reclaimed, the Flame of Bridget. In bathing yourselves, in resting by its flame, by rekindling it, and by sort of carrying the flame away in lanterns or on torches, you actually have the Flame of Bridget. Now, the Flame of Bridget does a few different things, but it gives you advantage on crafting and any checks related to healing and medicine, cooking and that sort of thing. It can help you train skills very, very quickly. Where it can ordinarily take months to train a skill to proficiency, this could allow you to train some basic understanding of in a skill within a week. If used to build a campfire, it can place wards around an area. So you have one relic. It's Bridget's Flame. Also stolen was the Spear of Lu, a massive spear that's said to have an endless range that returns, striking the opponent again as it returns to the hand. That it was surpassingly sharp and nearly impossible to destroy. There's the Book of Anu, which is a book of great deeds and holy tales. It's primarily a book of meditations on the gods, on Bridget's Flame, on what it is and where it comes from, and how the Tuatha De Dea became gods, and how they maintained it. Now, carrying it is said to give one like sort of resistance against fear, give you a bonus, make you harder to kill, so advantage on death saving throws, resistance to necrotic damage if you're carrying it, again, and it can empower and improve healing spells, and even dramatically increase the health of the person carrying the book. There is the Bow of Nuada, that Nuada wielded for a short time before Nuada was made king again, and a silver hand was crafted. The bow has incredibly long range, and is said to attack very swiftly. And it can also ignore certain cover and terrain difficulties, and it's even said to ignore armor. The Staff of Ogma, that the builder and architect of the gods Ogma used. It's said to help repair any structures, to have vast capabilities in moving earth and stone, reshaping it, casting things like Wall of Earth, and is even said to be able to summon meteors. Then there's the Rod of the Dagda, a warrior king who is also a healer in battle. And the wand is similar to a wand of striking and healing, but has more charges, and more charges can be used at once. There is the Shield of Maeve, apparently, or Mab, depending on how you pronounce it. It is said to be able to reflect the enemy spells back at the wielder, and defend against dragon's fire and such. Lastly is the Sword of the Nameless Hero, which is a powerful blade. It's a two-handed sword. It can boost the health of the wearer, and allows the wearer to sacrifice their own health to do to well,
Smite.
yeah, to give incredible wounds, basically, to the enemy. So those are the relics: a sword, a rod, a shield, a staff, a bow, a book, a spear, and the flame. Now the flame was put out, and the rest of the relics were stolen. They're powerful, unholy relics, and the goblins would have to do something to be able to use them. That's likely why you haven't seen them yet, is they have to be prepared somehow for an evil hand to wield them, especially to wield them against the city. Some powerful magic would have to be used on these relics. And you expect that might be the ritual you all were hearing when you were in the bottom of the stone. Them trying to sort of curse these relics.
All right, cool. I'll also take a poll with the group and see, like, if we could get one master-crafted item from the smith. What do we all think that he should put his efforts toward?
Yeah, good question.
X votes for some big, gnarly, bashy thing for Lokag.
Or a polearm. What is
Yeah, as long as
Lokag's weapon of choice going for?
Oh, definitely pole arms. So anything with reach. I think that's the key.
Does anybody else want something? Millie, did you want to get into plate mail at some point, or are you not going to be a
I
head
can't wear
armor
plate
wearer?
mail. I can't wear plate mail. Nope.
Is that due to
How dare
strength?
you?
Don't have the strength for it.
So you couldn't wear traditional plate mail, but if it was made of a different material, you could.
Like mithril or
Yeah,
something.
mithril.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Cliff could wear a breastplate if it was mithril, but otherwise, he's got a decent deck, so it's kind of a waste. So I think.
I know Cliff has magical weapons.
I have the rapier.
Helena has magical weapons. She's got that bow, right?
Yeah, she's got that crossbow that does radiant damage.
Yeah.
Laser bow.
I think that's the only. Yeah, I don't think you have a magical rapier or anything, Yana, or
Yeah,
Helena.
I have a rapier. She's got a bow.
Yana, yes. Helena, no.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, Millie's sword is magic, so.
okay. Does X have a magic weapon yet?
Nah. I'm good,
X
though.
is a magic weapon.
I don't need nothing.
The thing that gives you a bonus to your spell casting, the rod or something.
Yeah, I got the rod.
Yeah, so that's like the wizard equivalent of a magic weapon, kind of.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Lokag would. Is he able to craft magic weapons? I don't know. That would be.
Can you trick out
That
your
would be
halberd?
what. You know. Yeah.
He offered to make something cool, so I
He
figured.
said he could make one.
Totally, I'm down.
Make the rat hunt where it just consumes your opponent.
That would be pretty cool.
Can we surprise Lokag with it? Maybe somehow we could surprise him with the magic.
I'm fine with that. And if he needs like my glaive or if a halberd would be good too.
Or your glaive, yeah, we
Halberds.
could check out, depending on what he's got laying around. I'll let GM decide how to play that.
I think halberds are even better damage.
They are.
Halberd's pretty rad.
And with Savage Attacker, it's like I get to roll the damage twice.
Beck de Corbin. Remember, like the old D&D books? They had just like
So many different weapons. So X.
many.
One more piece of information with the Flame of Bridget is it can be used to help enchant items. If an item is incredibly well crafted and is sort of prepared to be enchanted already, it can push it over that last. Well, it can do a lot actually. It can imbue all of the power that it would take the months and months for a wizard to normally imbue a weapon with power.
So is that flame Millie's sword?
It's one place where it is in Millie's sword, and it has enchanted her sword.
Okay. Do we have it in a portable form that we could loan it to the smith, or do we have? It's with
You all
us.
lit a lantern with it. And something else. I don't recall what the other thing may have been a torch.
I think it was a lantern and a torch.
Torch is probably burned out. But you have the well, actually no, it does not consume the torch, so they both would just still be burning. So yes, you can give Bridget's flame to the smith.
Cool.
Okay. And then he can do
Somewhere in
something
this
double
square, we have
pimping for
a.
Lokek.
When he's done crying.
A different guy.
Oh, different one.
Yeah. Yeah, the dwarf is the smith. Joe, you said something there?
So we have two sources of unending flame.
Yeah.
Little
Okay, who brings him the flame? Who brings the flame to the dwarf?
Really?
I'll keep talking to him. I mean, I was the one who sort of, like, he made the offer to make something, so I'll go fill him in on what we want and give him the details and the flame.
Anger that clouds his features parts for a moment when you shine the lantern and tell him what you've brought. His eyes widen, his jaw drops open, and all of the young man's troubles are forgotten for a moment. Is that what I think it is? He looks up at you.
Yes, it is.
You're a right terrifying bastard. The dwarf grins.
The time is now. We need your best work.
Aye. You'll have it then. I can do more. I can do more with this. I don't even know what I can do with it. He reaches up to take the lantern from you. But it's almost like, he's he's really slow, like he's either afraid to touch it, like it's poisonous, or like he doesn't want to spook it, like it's a frightened puppy or something. He just sort of very gently reaches forward and grabs the handle. Did you give any thought to the first thing you wanted made? My best?
What do you want? You want a halberd or a glaive?
I am kind of digging the glaive, to be honest. Because I was looking at it, halberd's also just a D10. I like the flavor of the glaive.
Nice.
Okay.
Need my glaive?
No, I think a good smith like this guy knows exactly what a glaive is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
So, so I'll explain it, but then it needs to be just a little bit bigger than the normal glaive because, Lokag's just a little bit bigger than the normal guy. So, a little bit thicker handle, a little bit thicker, more spiky stuff up on the back end of it so he can swing it frontwards and backwards, and we'll put a big skull-shaped knocker on the back end of the pole. On the butt end where you stomp it on the ground so Lokag can make frightening noises with it.
Nice. Okay. He begins to work on it. He says, yeah, I'll start working on it now. He looks back up at the lantern light again, and he just... Yeah, he seems at a loss for words. I never thought I'd see it this close. I never thought I'd have this shining in my forge. It's like I never thought it'd be just me in here. Well, you bring bad
X won't
news.
say anything.
You bring me
X
out
won't
of
say
that place.
anything.
Go ahead, sorry.
I won't say anything, but I'll just put my hand on his shoulder reassuringly.
Says you took me out of that. You brought me out of that place. You brought me the worst news, and then you bring me this. He shakes his head again. It'll be the finest work you've seen. It'll be for Bridget, for my da, for you and your friends, for us here in the square, and for everyone we lost, and everyone that you all can still save. No more words now. He stands up and grabs the lantern and heads back inside to start selecting metal, I suppose.
Right. Then last quick thing, if X knows that the square is low on food, X just won't eat because he weighs like, 120 pounds and doesn't really need anything to eat.
You can skip a meal. You'll be all right. You're hungry. You can feel it, but yeah. All right. All right. So what
Cliff is
about?
on a liquid diet.
Go ahead, Cliff.
Cliff is on a liquid diet at this point, so he doesn't need to eat much.
I noticed that. I'll check in with that. But first, Helena, as you know, soon you've got a plate of food. You've got fresh water. You've got some mead, a more comfortable place, some privacy if you want it, a lantern. What does Helena do next?
Well, she's been sitting there for quite some time, I take it.
Yeah, as long as you want it. It's been you've been back a couple of hours.
Yeah, I imagine she maybe drifted on and off a little bit as people passed by, and the warmth of the sun kind of lulling her into a semi-state of consciousness, but eventually she packs up her stuff and, well, no, she leaves it there. I mean, she's used to leaving it there, but she, packs up a few of her extra things and decides to look for any of her comrades or trouble. So
you might find both because Clifford is drinking at the tavern nearby.
Tavern sounds like a natural place one would go if they're looking for trouble, because she's looking for amusement at this point. So trouble, amusement, same difference to her.
All right, what does she do?
Which one is the tavern again? It's
to the right.
To the right, yeah, Baba Brune.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's gonna go on in there and look around and see if anything really obnoxious is happening.
Well, what's Clifford doing inside? He's been drinking pretty steadily since you all got back, right? Told his tale to the bard, and so what's he doing currently?
He was cleaning. He was going through all the stuff in the shop there with the guy. I assume he kind of came back at a certain point.
Yeah.
And then he'll be just sort of lovingly stroking the case that holds the rounds that he's been so he's at some point I think he wanted to try to get, like, is there an instruction booklet for this pistol, like, because he doesn't feel like he knows completely how to use it. Like, he gets a sense there's all these like weird symbols and latches and things, and he doesn't know how to use the pistol very well. So he's hoping there'll be some kind of clue or some kind of token or manual. It's like a puzzle to him, but he's not that smart, so he hasn't quite figured that out. So he's puzzling over this, trying to figure out. He of course he can load it, but he's wondering if there's anything special in the material, and he's just really obsessing, like it's Antique Roadshow or something.
Okay.
So he'll be transfixed by that, and he'll probably be kind of myopic because he's not going to notice much of what's going on around him unless someone bumps into him.
I see. Well, that being the case, I have definitely a response to that. Helena notices Clifford sitting there just being a freaking nerd about stuff. And just it's
Totally.
not time for that. So she goes and she gets a couple of the biggest mugs of ale that she can. She comes down and slams one in front of him, nearly spilling it on his book. Come on, get your head out of that for right now. Relax a bit.
He quickly grabs like his stuff and like squirrels it away, like someone's gonna try to take it or whatever. And then he notices it's Helena, and he's like, another drink, yes, another drink. We made it, we're alive. And he'll like, grab a drink and drink with you. Happy to see you.
She turns to everyone in the tavern and says, "To us, the heroes!"
That's right, we're goddamn heroes.
And Baba Brune carries that chorus. The two other people that are in the tavern also, happy to be able to engage with you because they've kind of been sitting back, probably wanting to talk to Clifford, but you keep fading out of the conversation as you've been engrossed in it, and so they kind of scoot their chairs over a bit closer, and bring sort of the barrel that they have over with you. To the Goblin Slayers, the new heroes of Arabelle, says another.
Is anyone in there gambling?
Not yet, says Baba Brune.
Hey, what about a shooting? Hey, what about a shooting contest, huh?
Ooh, yeah. I've gotten pretty good at that.
I'm gonna have to ask you to do that outside now, says Baba Brune.
Oh.
I was thinking darts. I mean, why not darts?
Doesn't
Doesn't sound as fun.
Yeah. So we'll try to throw some very drunken darts.
Clifford drunk, Helena not. All right, let's see an attack roll. That's going to be disadvantage for Clifford. You are drunk.
Absolutely.
And a single roll for Helena. Single roll for Helena.
The attack roll?
Yeah, just an attack roll. Well, let's see here.
My crossbow of light.
Yeah. Just use your crossbow.
Yeah, we'll just drop a point.
No. Hail of thorns. Those are all my darts.
Let's see here. It might just be. I think that's going to pop up a DC when you hit that. So if you whichever ranged attack, if it is going to be one of your magical items, we'll just drop the magical bonus off of that for the purposes of it.
Yeah, I'll just do the short sword. Oh, that's damage.
So
no, I got a 24. All right, that's not bad. 24 with disadvantage. He's drunken master with this.
So Clifford, sort of weaving back and forth while he's standing, alternately closing and opening one eye, trying to sight, trying to reach out as if to steady the target 15 feet ahead of you all that's moving. You manage to, gaze upon the two targets where there's supposed to be one, and you just aim right in the middle. You just aim for the center, right between the two targets.
I'm gonna hit both of them with one dart.
Right. And it does, to your eye, it does. It splits into two darts and hits both bullseyes.
Man. Damn playing with my head.
But, Helena, you sink bullseye after bullseye as well. And it would almost be a draw, except Clifford goes last, and his last dart dislodges one of your darts. There's no real official ruling for that in pub darts here in this world anyway. But you all, between the two of you, might consider that a win for Clifford.
I'm not paying you anything.
Yeah. You're the best marksman I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. You should know that.
Aw. Why? I've never. Thank you. You're very skilled as well.
Well, I got the right tools for the right job. And he'll pull out that pistol again and start to just nerd out.
Okay, awesome. So I was curious, Clifford being drunk, is there anything he might blurt out about what he picked up earlier, or is he keeping that under his hat? Or is he too distracted by fun and games and his pistol to even think about that information?
It's a good question. I feel like he should roll like something to see, probably like a charisma check, right? Because that would be the part that tells him don't say anything about that.
Right.
I think I'll just roll a charisma roll and see how well he does.
It looks like an 8.
An 8 is sort of, he'll probably fumble, but maybe not completely give it away. So when he's talking about what a great marksman, I'd say, I was just telling the fella in the shop there all about you. When I was in there, I gave him a big hug and I told him, I was telling him the same thing about your marksmanship and your ability to corral all of us rats out of that place and get us to safety. So, anyway.
You like to talk about me quite a lot. She looks at him suspiciously.
Now,
I know, I'm top prize, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have a town to save.
You're absolutely right. I gotta say, you didn't hear me talking about Lokag earlier. Well, I'm very fond of that fella, and I want to make sure he doesn't do anything stupid. And I expect he'll do the same for me.
No, you have such a big heart, don't you? You just love everyone.
Well, I just want to keep you safe, and, well, if anyone's gonna die, it best be me.
Well, hopefully none of that.
He starts looking off in the half distance for a second.
Well, now Helena's convinced that Clifford has a crush on her and Lokag.
Exactly. That's probably how she interprets it. But he does keep looking at the shop, like, kind of like there's a thing there, and comparing their faces. So if you want to insight him, he's definitely like, are they, looking back and forth a little bit between the two of you. He might give that away.
I'll insight check that.
Yeah.
All right, 14.
Probably good enough for me. My deception's garbage, so I would just give that to you. My passive deception is terrible. I think I have a 9 passive deception. So yeah, it's clear he's like looking back and forth at the two of you, like for some weird reason. It's odd. You're not sure why he's looking like back and forth.
She just assumes it's because he's drunk, and he's clearly infatuated. I mean, he said he would die. He would die for us. I mean, that's a lot. So he must really like us.
Yeah, he's getting really like, he's like a really like overwhelming drunk who's just gonna save the world drunk, kind of like, I don't know. That's probably how he comes off. He's gonna be unconscious in a few minutes.
I think from there, I'd like to transition over to Millie as Helena and Clifford, have their first time they've really kind of set just together and bonded for a long period. So, yeah, good moment. What does Millie do after helping cook and corralling Win and Tar?
Yeah, so corralling Win and Tar, explain to them their mission of scouting the docks area.
Nice.
And to come back with a report to any of our local people or Baba Brune or Pell.
Pell. Skinny man. Short hair.
Yes, let me introduce you to Pell. He's kind of our
He seems like my sort.
lead.
Looks like he works in the
Our
cellar.
main defense when we're not here. He may know you. Hopefully not.
Hope not. She grins. Well, that sounds, yeah, we could do that. We don't gotta take anybody with us, do we? We prefer to just work the two of us if we can. Not that it wasn't good going into the stone with you. You all are mean as hell in a fight. About as mean as Tav is, or Tar is.
Tar is quite competent. Yes.
Talks with his hands.
Well, we all learned it for him or from him, one way or another. A sign again to Tar, just like, let's go meet Pell, and then it'll just be the two of you, just no deviating from the goal unless you see something extraordinarily valuable to the entire people here. You can look for personal loot later. You must.
Well, that's smart, and we should listen to that. But if there's anything that seems really important, it might be okay to get distracted. Yeah, Say we find a cache of healing potions or something like that, or the promise of it. Do you want us to at least scout it out, or just report it back?
At least take a look, and if there's lots of goblins around it, come back.
I was hoping you'd say that. Just take a look and don't get in any fights. Well, Tar will be disappointed. All right, well.
If there's some of them scouting about getting close, and you feel confident you can take them out, sure, but no more than 2.
Okay. I'll trust you know what you're about. Goblins seem pretty weak, but you've dealt with a lot more of them than we have. All right.
They're surprisingly annoying in groups.
Notice that in the stone. So you introduce her to Pell, and he starts briefing her. She starts telling him what she's seen, and they go off together. While you're up toward the north position, which is where Pell's usually at, Ceres, one of the alchemists, makes her way over towards you. Give me just a moment. Okay. Yeah, she makes her way over and says, Millie, a moment, please.
Oh, it's good to see you again.
It's good to see you. It really is. We thank you so much. You've made so much possible to help keep us all alive, and I just and more, and you just keep doing more. You may be sick of hearing it by now, but thank you. You brought our nephew back to us. Natewin's he's the healer's got him. His leg was a bit hurt, but a green thumb he's got, and the woman Patewin, she was a druid's apprentice. She's going to take a room in the house and help us work on herbs. We should be able to produce a lot more healing potions now. She's quite skilled in it, and between her and Nateman, they should get the herb garden flourishing within a day. So we'll have more potions and antivenoms and such, and maybe even a few stronger ones.
That will be helpful. The alchemist fire also assisted it quite a bit.
Oh, did it? Well, my love would like to hear about that. I'll tell her. Although the druid of the square says there's going to be a tale telling later, and we'll get to hear all about it. Is that true?
That is what I am told, yes.
Oh. Well, I look forward to hearing all the heroic details. But I had something more we wanted to give you. We brewed up something rather special, and, well, it's something Elneth has been working on for quite some time. We had it finished, but had it behind the counter. It is quite expensive, and we had hoped to sell it one day, but as you know, it took us a few days to realize that this wasn't a dream, I think. And, well, here, there's a draught for each of your allies. It will, well, it could do many things depending on the one who drinks it. It can make one stronger, or wiser, more comely, or have a more silvered tongue. There's enough draught for each to have a draught, and you need only drink on it and think on the physical attribute of yours you wish to improve. It's certain to work. There's thousands of gold of materials in that, and time, and it's the best thanks we can give you. There's not any healing potions made yet, but we hope you'll accept this, and we hope it'll help.
That is much appreciated. I will, perhaps after this tale, telling and urchins feast, I'll figure out what we want from it. And thank you.
Yes. Until later, then.
Yes, we'll stop by before we go back out to whatever we're doing next. Is there anything you need from us? Anything useful? We're sending a few people towards the docks to take a look at things. Anything you could think of that way that would help you out?
Well, any herbs at all you can bring. Rarer ones might help us brew different potions, especially with Baitwin here. We should be able to produce some wonders now.
Very well. We'll let Win know of other things to look for there.
Right. Well, thank you again, Millie. We're lucky to have you.
Indeed. Can have you all. I think we went through every single potion you gave us in there.
Well, I'm glad we could make them then. I'll tell Elneth.
Really has a flashback of Cliff giving Win a potion and it never being reoriented to anybody else.
Yeah.
That's his style. I'll head toward the tavern as well.
Okay. So as you head toward the tavern, and you can hear, there's not very many people in there. There's somewhat of a ruckus. Mostly Helena and two other fellows inside. A drinking rhyme. Yeah, and as you all step toward that, our attention sort of is drawn up from the square. You can look out over the broken city. And as night begins to fall, when in most places of the city, one can hear the renewed cry of goblins, their chant and cheer, and the distant echoing clomp of their marching feet. Around the square, it's quiet. The only place that there's any sounds is that place slightly to the north of you all, 10 blocks away, where the defenders lost a battle a few days ago. And you can hear the goblins sort of, alive, working and moving, but there's no cheering, there's no chanting. And as our view rises up sort of over the city, you can see that to the north and the east and west of the stone, the city is alight with the campfires of the goblin hordes. But in the southern quadrant of the city, there's only small, there's a few places where the goblins have gathered together. But there's no reinforcements. There's no patrols moving. And we, the viewers and players, can see what effect that the heroes have had on the city. At least in this area, they have killed such a number, driven so many back, killed leaders and bosses, thwarted plans that they don't know about. And so this section of the city, for the first night since the stone has fallen, there's something akin to peace. But the night continues, and we'll find out what it holds next session on the Goblin Stone. Gang, thanks everybody for an awesome session. It's good to have everyone back in the square. It's, a couple of things tended to. A few mysteries remain that we'll get into next session. There will be, will be celebrated. Your characters will be celebrated by the town. You'll get to hear more and kind of see more of the city at night and what has happened. And a few other mysteries you all may delve into. We can talk between sessions what ability score we want to boost. I'm assuming that you all will take that and boost your best ability score, whether it's dexterity or wisdom or charisma. It is going to be a +1 to those ability scores. Your blacksmith now working on weapons with Bridget's flame in his forge. And though he forges without his father, he forges with new purpose and new power. You will have your alchemists and apothecary will be putting out more potions and some slightly more powerful potions and more variety of stuff. You might get things like levitation or gaseous form or that sort of, there's a simpler, not, cloud giant strength or anything like that, but some simpler utility potions you'll start being able to see, or even request from them as you all have some time in the square to go to them and tell them, hey, can you make me this? Can you make me this? Potion of invisibility? Come on, what do you got? So I'm looking forward to next session with seeing about that and maybe developing some resources, maybe sending a raid out in some direction as you like. And there's still time in the night for some other things to develop, for some other events to transpire. Let's see here. So we're a little bit after time. Well, I think maybe let's maybe briefly check in and just see how the session was, if anything stood out, or what you're excited for next session. So how about you, Loquitter?
Man, you can't argue with a free bump to your wisdom or
Sure
whatever stat. That's pretty awesome. Just have to figure out how to edit it now in the builder. That's going to be new.
We'll work on that. Oh yeah.
I liked it. I liked the session in the square. I like to have a little more role playing, sort of get a little more feel for the character's personality instead of combat this session. So nice, fun, good stuff.
Heck yeah.
And I appreciate you taking time to run down those items for the people who are watching the live streams later and stuff like that. I think that could be pretty cool to know that there's some good stuff in the game if we can get to it.
Oh, heck yeah. There's powerful relics in the hands of the goblins, likely being twisted so that they can use them. Heck yeah. Well, how about you, Pon? Any thoughts for you on the session? You're muted, by the way. Oh, there you go.
Generally, I have more with thought, but I was similar to Helena myself. Just playing around and being Helena. That's what I had.
I kind of like. Sorry, go ahead. I'm gonna cut you off.
That's it. Go for it.
Yeah, no, I like that scene. Her like putting up her old little setup, in the square, and it's like now hers is the only tent there, and like it was just a neat. I just thought it was a neat character moment. I can't put my finger on why, but yeah, it's just like there's a comfort to what you're used to, even if it's ratty and tattered. You know what I mean? And it's just a cool moment where she's like, "All right, cool, something I know, something I'm familiar with," and you don't have to pay a copper to the business that you're sitting out front of this time to set your blanket up. So it's just like it's comforting. It's comforting, familiar, but everything's new, and yeah.
I deeply appreciate you putting words to that, because I put a lot of thought behind that, and frankly, my favorite thing to do in D&D is roleplay and storytell. So I really actually enjoyed this session, but I often don't know how to break it down at the end to be like, tell you what I thought about it. Oh yeah, I did a great job role playing. Oh, nice job.
Well, I'll tell you, it's my job to say that you did a great job role playing. You all did. This is a fun session for the role play.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Big Bri, how about you? Any thoughts for you on the session? Any standout moments?
Yeah. So I really liked. I mean, I'm the same way. I like these downtime episodes, and I feel like we've been doing a good job of going back and forth between combat and this. There's still a lot more to explore in this square. I could imagine us spending a whole nother session here, with just asking about the guards that we saved, if they've made it back, and so
Oh,
on
they
and so
have.
forth.
Goodness, they absolutely have. They're just on duty. No one checked in with them, and they were at the bottom of my list, and I didn't get to.
Oh no, you're fine. I have it in my notes to check on them next time we're here. So, which will hopefully be this Monday.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Or next Monday.
Next Monday, yeah. How about you, Nick? Any thoughts for you on the session?
Yeah, I think you guys covered it. It was really fun to pair off a little bit. Had fun banter with you, just with the the bar and with this revealing a little bit more information and making some connections. It's such a great relief when you're not strategizing. You're not thinking about, okay, if I don't use my action economy, I'm wasting my turn, and none of that matters. You can just and that's something I kind of enjoy about these. Like you were saying, like there's a lot of fun in the downtime. We can turn off our grognard a little bit.
Yeah.
Just kind of be in the moment, which is fun. Try to do that more.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting. You're the character that spotted Mildred sort of staring at Helena, and went and talked to him and got some sort of insight on some information on what his relationship with her is. I just thought it was neat, kind of like dramatic irony. You know what I'm saying? Like, and in that sense of like, the players got to see that. Helena has no idea what's going on though.
Yeah, and Cliff is just so bad at communicating.
Yeah, and drunk and distracted and everything else. Yeah.
Right. But he's also an open book, so maybe she'll figure it out.
Yeah, if she wanted to pry, she'd probably figure it out pretty quick. Yeah. Well, Millie, J. Fink, how about you? Any thoughts for you on the session?
I enjoyed it. It's always fun to see just kind of the different perspectives of all the different characters, what we get up to, and kind of the stories we tell through these activities and downtime. Definitely had a lot of fun just with that interaction between Helena and Cliff, and just seeing these characters who probably at any other time in the world didn't interact.
Yeah.
But here we are in post-Goblin Stone era.
Well, heck yeah.
And then I don't know what it is about this bard person, but it's like, why is this person so interested in us?
Well, you're the most interesting thing around, and
people need heroes, though.
Yeah, she's living through interesting times, and you all are the most interesting people. Yeah, y'all are doing all the things. So,
but I think that's what's weird to Millie. Millie is like entire task is stay as tiny as possible to not be interesting to people.
Yeah.
So it's like, what? Like, she's like, I'm all about us having a meal together. But a feast, when you put a word like that, it's like, what? You mean a feast?
Yeah.
No, not a feast. So that was interesting. I was like, how is my character going to handle this strange individual who's kind of the other side of her charisma of help people, but don't really look for talking about it all that much. And then just kind of X's interactions with people and the dwarf's son. That was very interesting. And then Big Brian didn't bring it up. Like, hey, we have those guards, and I totally forgot who the heck you were talking about there. So when you were like, those guards that helped us in the house, I'm like, oh, yes, those people. I forgot about those people.
Yeah, we could check in on them next session for sure.
Yeah, I think the idea was maybe we could have them be the dock securers while we go do a number of other things. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we will. We'll figure it out next session. So yeah, things that you all mentioned, wanted to check in on, we didn't get to, just in case you all want to make notes. Wanted to look around for suspicious people in the stone. You wanted to check in with the guard and the people that you all worked with in the house. As yeah, and then the party might want to sort of run interference and keep this, like Millie mentioned, keep this whole feast thing from happening. But so make those notes. And for those of you out there in chat and Twitch hanging out with us, thanks for being here for the session. We'll see you all next week. We're gonna raid out, but first I'm gonna transition to another screen, and I'm gonna play a couple more bits of music. So yeah, thanks so much.
Good with an urchin's beast. I think she convinced this character.
All right, let's see here. Let's see if I can do this. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Very nice.
Take me just a moment.
I figured out how to change an ability score. I put it in chat for y'all if you want to look.
He crossed the shadow belt, hold veil.
There's more for you to do, she said, and he was turned away. The frightful journey racked him. His skin turned ashen gray. She gave him ancient lore, miracle of widden root. He bound his soul with arcane tattoos, inked from head to foot.
Has he found purpose once again? Helping, healing, blessing, guiding, making others. Now he stands against the gale, counting souls across the veil. Through mist and fear he strives, balancing the sides. Among the alleys, cold and bleak, I learned to stand up for the meek. Never one to start a fight, now called to breach its light. When that storm dropped on Arabelle, they had me headed for a cell. Bridget made her first demand to break my chains and make a stand. I'm champion of Bridget's might. I carry her flame shining bright. Justice by day, peace by night. I vow to make this right. Once an urchin, now I glow with the strength that will not fade. I don't know why she chose me, but I'm glad to be her blade. I won't forget my former life, filled with hunger, pain, and strife. For those abandoned and alone, I'll be your hearth and home. I'm champion of Bridget's might. I carry her flame shining bright. Justice by day, peace by night. I vow to make this right.
He's got the mind to build a land, every creature spell and grain of sand, to Arabelle where life was grand. He brought the stone, now take a stand. Maps and dice, he lays it down. Are we enough to save the crown? A twist of fate, a roll of chance. In Feanor's domain do stories dance. Come join this world where magic flies, through caverns dark and open skies. His crafted dreams for us to roam, an epic quest to save our home. Speaks with voices old and wise. Goblins roam and heroes rise. With every turn a new surprise, brought to us to fantasize. From dusty tomes and ancient lore, to battles fierce and treasures more, you've got a place, an open door. Adventure calls you can't ignore. Join Feanor's world where magic flies, through caverns dark and open skies. His crafted dreams for us to roam, an epic quest to save our home.